we go.
All right. Hello, everybody, and thank you for coming out to our event tonight. Since we have a few viewers from other universities here, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alan Frank, and I'm the Torch Chair for the University of Houston chapter of the National Society of Black Engineers. And joining me in hosting today is our president, Mr. Ali Hashi.
How we doing?
And our special guest this hour needs no introduction, but I'll give him one anyways. I'm sure you've seen him all over the television and on your Twitter feed. He's been instrumental in pushing forward Black excellence in the Black Lives Matter movement with the March for George Floyd. He's been faithfully leading the city of Houston for the past 4 years. And most importantly, he is a University of Houston alum. So please join me in giving a warm virtual round of applause for Mr. Mayor Sylvester Turner. All right.
I can't hear y'all.
You can't hear?
No, I can hear you.
Ourselves and clap for my man real quick.
We can do virtual claps.
Virtual clap. All right. So we all know why we're here. Tonight we're going to be discussing why it's important to vote and what impact we can make on our communities. But Mayor Turner, I wanted to start off with something a little light.
Okay.
Could you please tell us a little bit about your upbringing and how you got involved in politics?
All right. No, number one, let me thank you for having me. Okay, it's appreciate that, Alan, Ali, all of you who are here, those who attend UH, those who are not, but Black engineers. So again, let me thank you for the course that you're on. I'm a native Houstonian. You know, I grew up on the north side of Houston, Acres Home, the Fofo, as we affectionately refer to it, and. So from Klein High School to University of Houston, then on to Harvard Law School, came back, been a practicing lawyer, partner in a law firm downtown, and then served in the Texas legislature for a number of years, 27 to be exact, while continuing to be a partner at the law firm downtown. And then after leaving the legislature, became mayor of the city of Houston, and that election was December 2015 started my term, January of 2016. So been the mayor now, pretty much going on right at 5 years, and pretty much the focus is focusing on communities that have been underserved, under-resourced for a number of decades, but a lot of other things. We've handled a lot of things. I mean, during the course of my term, we dealt with everything from natural disasters to hurricanes, coronavirus, the murder of George Floyd, you name it. It's been a whole litany of things, but it's been an honor to serve. It's a privilege to serve. And I look forward to having this conversation with each of you tonight.
Absolutely, and we definitely appreciate your service. All right, so now into the meat of why we're here. We want to see if you would discuss why it's important for young people to vote, and in particular, young people of color.
Well, let me tell you, elections matter, and who you vote for matter, and elections have consequences, okay? And if there's any doubt about that, you can look at the people who hold office today, from the guy that's holding office in the White House, all the way down. Everything that you do is impacted one way or another by those who hold elective office, either on the local level, school districts impact directly education, and so much more. Those who serve as mayors and city council, from the streets you drive on to the police that police our communities, on the county side, your birth certificates, you name it. What we do directly impact your lives. On the state level, your whole criminal justice system is controlled by your legislature. Mental health, funding controlled by the legislature. Colleges and universities, tuition, you name it, controlled by the state legislature. And then, of course, on the national level, access to quality, affordable health care, in large part controlled by those who serve in DC. The criminal justice arena, reforms controlled by those in DC. From the president on down, how you handle pandemics, okay, like the one that we're dealing with right now. really depends on the type of leadership that you have at the top. So every election is important. We say that all the time, but in actuality, it is. Who you elect is critically important, and your lives are directly affected. We will impact you from the moment you enter this world as a kid to the moment you leave. Even how you handle your death will in large part be determined by the policies we put in place and every single thing in between. Okay. And one vote, literally one vote, can make the difference.
Wow. And over the past week, we've seen some record-breaking numbers in terms of the polls and voter turnout. Right. What makes this such an important election?
Well, when I think about the coronavirus, 220,000 people are dead. Okay. And in large part dead because of the way this coronavirus was handled from the very beginning. People of color are disproportionately impacted. Black and brown communities are bigger. They are showing up more in those numbers than need be. So 220,000 dead on the national level. More than 17,000 have lost their lives in the state of Texas, and more than 1,300 here in the city of Houston. So that's just one indication. And this hasn't stopped. And then at the same time, hundreds of thousands, the city of Houston, for example, at one point we had lost more than 350,000 jobs. People were like lost their jobs or were furloughed because of this pandemic. Okay, we have restored about 170,000, and I'm talking about the metro region, not just the city of Houston. But a lot of people have lost their lives. People have been, because they lost their jobs, they're in revenue. People have faced evictions. Okay, there are many businesses, small, medium-sized, that have either had to shut down and been adversely affected. People are suffering mental, emotional health issues because of what we are going through. So on multiple levels, this election is consequential. And quite frankly, if it wasn't so important, then ask yourself why people spending so much time and expending so much effort to suppress people's right to vote. If your vote wasn't important, why would people be doing everything they can to keep you from voting or to discourage you from voting if your vote was not important? And then look at the people that are being placed on the United States Supreme Court and on federal benches all throughout the United States. Okay, those people that are sitting on these federal benches, and I might add, lifetime appointments, not like being a mayor, 2 4-year terms, and whether I want to stay or not. Okay, at the end of this term, I've got 3 more years left. At the end of this term, whether I choose to stay or not, whether I'm doing an excellent job, people want me to stay. In 3 more years, I'm out. But for the people, for example, that the president is putting on federal judicial benches, placing on appellate courts, or putting on the United States Supreme Court, these individuals will be on these courts these are lifetime appointments. They will be there until they die or unless they choose to retire. And so they will be impacting decisions, impacting people for years and decades, a generation or more. Education, and many of us who where you all are today, education is directly affected by those who hold office. Access to healthcare, and when I grew up, for example, my dad died of cancer when I was 13. We didn't have any private health insurance. We relied strictly on the public health system. In fact, when my dad was diagnosed with cancer, he decided, since we didn't have any private health insurance, he was just going to work until, as he put it, until the Lord called him home. And literally, that's what he did. He got so sick. He was sick on one day, and the very next day, my dad died. And then my mom, who was a maid at the old Rice Hotel downtown, took over the helm of the household, rearing nine kids. Okay, again, no health insurance. So And it was hell being poor. Because if you don't have any health insurance or access to health insurance, you just do the very best you can. So healthcare, access to quality healthcare, critically important. So there are so many things that impact our lives that elected officials like me, okay, have a direct say on. So whether it's education, whether it's healthcare, whether it's the criminal justice system, you name it, those who hold office, job creation, okay, all of those things are impacted by somebody or bodies that are sitting in these elected positions.
And how does that play together from like say the president all the way down to the state officials like you, the mayor and the governor? How do those work together to make the policies?
Well, I would tell you, you would hope that that elected officials at all levels would be moving in the same direction, but that often is not the case. You know, not only do I have to face to deal with, as the mayor of the city of Houston, not only do I have to deal with the coronavirus and unemployment and all natural disasters, I also have to deal with people in, let's say, in Austin, Texas, who oftentimes will do everything they can to work against what we are attempting to do. The governor, the lieutenant governor, the speaker, and a legislature in the state of Texas right now. And let me be a little partisan, because in the state of Texas, the Texas Senate, the Texas House, and every statewide elected position is Republican. But when you look at those who are running your large urban cities in the state of Texas, in Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, those cities are run by in large part by Democratic mayors. And so we are constantly having to deal with the politics on the state level that oftentimes makes it very difficult for us to move forward. And then on the national level, you have your president and then your US Senate, both are in Republican hands. The only difference is that you have the US House of Representatives that's controlled by Democrats for right now. So it makes it very difficult when you're trying to move the ball forward, when you're running into what I call artificial resistance. But those who control the power control the strings, okay? And so we are constantly having to find ways of how to maneuver, because it doesn't help the people that I serve to say to them, well, you know, Republicans control the Texas House, the Texas Senate, and the governor, so I can't do anything for you. You know, I still have to be creative and innovative enough to try to work to find ways to meet the needs of the people in this city, and not be paralyzed because somebody on the opposite party is working against us. Having said all of that, elections like the one that we're facing now can help to reset the table. But it will only change when people exercise their right to vote. And your vote is your voice. You know, we can have, and hundreds of thousands of people, for example, marched after the murder of George Floyd. And that was fine. And it raised the consciousness and brought attention to many of the issues that have been plaguing our societies, not since the death of the murder of George Floyd, but for decades. Decades, these problems existed. They didn't just start this year. These problems, these inequities have been around for a long, long time. You know, it was just the murder of George Floyd just got to the point where people just said, we're tired of this crap. Okay, we're just tired of it. But nonetheless, as people marched, demonstrated, and protest, now people have to balance the equation. And that is now exercising their voice at the ballot box. To do anything less doesn't change those who are implementing the policies or the people who are needed to bring about the reforms. And you have to exercise your right to vote, because if you don't, then if the players remain the same, the music does not change, okay? It simply does not change. You have to change the players in order to change the music. And if you don't, but the vote is the one thing, I don't care if you're a billionaire, or you're the poorest person in the world, my one vote, being the poorest person, is the equivalent of that billionaire. The only time in the electoral process that that billionaire has the advantage over me is that if that billionaire vote and I stay at home, then literally I have given that person my power because I chose to stand down.
Wow. Wow. And that leads into our next topic, actually. So, all of us being students, we all pay attention to the news, but we ourselves don't have any like real political experience. So it may be hard for us to analyze situations at times. So, in your professional opinion, what do you see this nation looking like over the next 4 years, given either candidate wins the election?
If the players remain the same, as my mama would say, let's get in the corner and pray. If the players remain the same, then the same nonsense. No, it can get worse. I'm like Michelle Obama. Don't say it can't get worse. Hell, yes, it can. Okay, because when a person, let's say like your president, he's seeking his second and final term. Okay, if someone shows you, as Maya Angelou would say, if someone shows you who they are, believe them. The man has shown everybody who he is. He ain't trying to hide it. Okay. So just imagine if he wins again. Just imagine. Don't you think he'll be even more emboldened, empowered to do even more if he wins again? When he doesn't have to run again? Okay. Who's then going to hold him in check? You already see a Senate that has been what I call in the people in the Senate have been enablers. They haven't tried to put him in check. So if the same players remain in office in the second round, it does get worse. Okay, it does, because basically what the American public is saying, what you have done is okay. It's not so bad. Okay. And don't think pandemics, they don't just come just one period of time. You know, things can repeat. We're still in the midst of this one here. It hasn't disappeared. We're still in the midst of it. And what about the reforms that people march for? You put the same people back in place in the midst of all the demonstration marches and protests, and the same people remain there. What is that saying? Okay. Basically saying that the majority of people are okay with that. So by keeping the same people in place, pretty much we are giving and we're acquiescing to what is. And what is right now, it's not okay. And the only way you're going to change it is that people have to show up. One thing I've always said, I am the mayor of the city of Houston. Okay. I work for you. You don't work for me. I'm the employee and you're the employer. And so if you keep the same people in place, essentially you are hiring those persons again. You're hiring, somebody is interviewing now to hold on to their job. It's evaluation time. When you go and vote and you're voting for the same people, essentially what you're saying is their performance is okay. They are deserving of continuing to hold on to their job, or in some cases getting promoted. Now, some may say, Mayor, I don't know if there's a difference. You know, okay, you got Trump on one hand, you got Biden on the other. Nothing is going to change. Everything's remain the same. Hey, let me just say this. If you don't like the way things are, then hell, just keep changing them until you get someone who understands what is. But I do believe there's a fundamental difference. Okay. I do believe there's a fundamental difference. and that this election is consequential. It is consequential because in this, where we are right now, pandemics, you have healthcare crisis, you have instability in terms of our economics. All of that's taking place. You have people losing their jobs, businesses being shut down. The racial divide is even larger. The inequities has gotten bigger. All of those things exist right now. And we are truly a country that's divided. At the same time, we have communities and neighborhoods that need a great deal of investment, okay, in these particular neighborhoods. So, I just believe this is one election where change is needed. Transformational change is needed. And it's not just about the president. It's about all those who enable these policies to remain in place. So you change them all out. And this is one election where I vote to change them all out. That's my point of view.
That's a great point of view.
No.
So say
but it's not just Trump. See, everybody gets fixated on Trump. It's the enablers. Trump just can't do anything unless he is enabled, unless there's people who are supportive. And people don't get the message until you have transformational change. And then they get it. Okay. So it's not just about him, but it's all about all of those who align with him. So as my mom would say, in a 2-bedroom house with a kitchen that would only hold 5 people at the table at a time, it may not have been the biggest house, but she said, keep my house clean, get this broom and sweep all of this dust out of here. And this is one time when people need to exercise their broom and sweep them all out. Just sweep them out. Okay. Change the players. And I hope that is what will take place in this election cycle.
Your mom seems like a very wise woman.
Yeah, she was tough too. Yeah. Well, look, if you're a mom raising 9 kids and you didn't graduate from high school and you never learned how to drive and you're a maid and you reared 9 kids, and one of those 9 kids now happened to be the mayor of the 4th largest city of the United States of America, I think she did one hell of a job. Okay.
Wow.
Absolutely. So I give her a great deal of credit. She was the CEO of the Turner household.
So say we all go out and vote and
Yes.
say the election doesn't go our way. Aside from voting, how can we make an impact on our community and on the world as we stand today as engineering students?
The fight never stops. Even if you vote and it goes your way, the struggle continues. Okay. You still have to hold everybody accountable, even those that you vote for. You still got to hold them accountable. The worst thing you can do is just vote. And let's say, and if it doesn't go your way, and then you say, oh, hell, you see, my vote didn't matter, and you go away. That doesn't get it either. And then let's say you vote, and the people that you vote for do go into office. They prevail. You still can't walk away. You still got to hold them accountable too. Okay. One of the problems that we've always faced, especially as a people, speaking not specifically about African Americans, is that we voted, but so often we fail to hold even so quote unquote our friends and allies accountable. So you can never walk away. The struggle is never over. Okay. And there'll always be things that need to be done. We have to stay engaged. So I don't want to give the impression at all that by casting this vote and putting this person in, everything is going to be fine. No, I'm not going to say that, because accountability is always required, regardless of who's in there, whether it's a D or an R or an independent. Okay, you are the employer. The employer never walks away. Okay. So, but what I do know is that if we don't exercise our voice through our vote, and things don't get better, or things remain as they are, or things get worse, and you didn't vote, then you have silenced your voice, and you have given up your power. So what are you complaining about? Why are you complaining? You didn't vote, so why are you complaining? And quite frankly, who you think gonna hear you?
So how do we go about holding our elected officials accountable?
Just like you got me on, I'm the mayor of the fourth largest city. Hell, you got me on this Zoom call at night. All right. And why did that happen? Because you reached out and you asked for me. Okay. Now, if you asked and I didn't respond, okay, or I didn't show up, I think you have every right to say, why not, mayor? Or you're tied up. You know, can we make this work? Is there another day we can make this work? Is there another time? But you ask. You got to at least ask. And that's how you make people accountable. You got to at least say, these are the things that we need. This is what we are dealing with. This is what we want to know. Oftentimes, we don't even ask the question. We don't even extend the invitation. We assume that people are not going to respond. We make it easy. Mm-hmm. So even for our friends and allies, we just, make it easy. There's nothing wrong with posing the question. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, why haven't this occurred? There's nothing wrong. Oftentimes, I would tell you, it makes us better. It makes us better. But the power lies within you. You have the power. Oftentimes we just don't exercise the power that we have. And so we diminish ourselves. It's not other folk that diminish us. We diminish ourselves. I give you a case in point. Oftentimes people don't apply for jobs because they don't think they're qualified for the job. Hell, you never applied. I tell you, there was this white guy saw this job opening for an airline. They were looking for a pilot. And well, let me back up because I told this to my daughter because she saw a job opening and she looked at it, she was going to apply, but she looked at the qualifications and she decided she didn't fit all the qualifications. So my daughter decided not to apply. She decided, I don't fit all the qualifications. And later on, she was telling me about it. She said, Dad, I was going to do this, but I looked at the qualification and I didn't fit all the qualifications. I chose not to apply. And I said, you chose? I said, tell me that again. She said, I didn't fit all the qualifications, so I chose not to apply. And I said, and why didn't you apply? She said, I didn't fit all the qualifications. So I said, okay. Do you think there's somebody else out there that did fit all the qualifications? So why did you eliminate yourself? You eliminated yourself. You made it easy. Let me tell you about how white guys are. White guy sees that there's an opening to be a pilot at an airline, looks at the qualifications. Hell, he never flown before, but he needs the job. So he goes and he fills out the qualification. I mean, he fills out the application, goes in for the interview. People ask him, you've ever flown before? No, sir, I've never flown before, but I promise you, if you give me the opportunity, I can learn how to fly this plane. I'm just smart enough. I can learn how to fly. Okay. He didn't eliminate himself. Okay. He showed up. The same thing for us. In so many cases, even in the political arena, we have the power. We choose not to exercise the power that we have. And then we complain about what we don't have or what people are not doing. So use your power, exercise your power. And I promise you, more so than not, you will get a response. And even if it's not the response you want, then you keep asking and you keep knocking. Okay. But don't diminish yourself. Okay. Don't do that. I've never been mayor before. Okay. But I'm mayor now.
And I think that is the perfect way to end this section of this interview. So now we're going to go into the questions that were submitted by our audience. Ali, if you want to go ahead and read off those questions.
Yes, sir, Mayor Turner. Once again, my name is Ali Hashi. I'm the president for NSBE. A lot of the viewers on here have submitted some questions for you in the RSVP. I was actually going to start with mine, which was how to hold people accountable, but you kind of answered that earlier. So I guess we'll move into another question from Alana. She asked, what challenges do you face as a Black man holding the position of mayor?
I have to prove myself every single day. Okay. I have to show up and I have to perform every single day. Okay. And I can't be foolish and say crazy stuff. I can't tell people that I'm taking hydroxychloroquine, okay, and be okay with that. Okay. I can't be tested positive and then show up at City Hall and infect everybody else. Okay. I can't say crazy stuff. You all Black people would impeach me. Okay. And throw me out. I cannot do what other folk do. If the president was the mayor of city of Houston, and if I did anything similar to what he was doing, the people in this city would simply be unmerciful towards me. Okay, I have to show up every single day, and I have to perform every single day. And like my mom and dad used to say, and it's sad to have to say it. I have to be better, twice as good, and still not get as much and not be nearly respected for the work that I do. I hate to say it, but it is true. I'm held to a higher standard. Every single email that I participate on at City Hall, they review. They request every single email. They look at almost every document that I do from the day I became mayor to today. Every single document, I'm under scrutiny every single day. I have to cross every T and dot every I. But is it fair? No. But it is what it is. And that's, hey. So do I go in, do I engage in a self-pity party? No, I don't have time for that. Okay. But I do know that I have to perform at a much higher level. And every day I have to show up to get the job done. And I do feel I have to run twice as fast and be twice as strong. It's not fair, but those are the realities. And I dream of the day when that's not the case. But until then, I have to show up and do my job. And I have to be careful. I can't just go off, okay? I can't be the angry Black man. So when I'm in interviews, I have to remind myself every now and then, Sylvester, smile. Oh, I have to say to myself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because I applaud, President Barack Obama. He was always cool, calm. I applaud him for that. I still have too much of the faux in me from Acres Home. So I have to hold that back, because that Acres Home will come out. I still live in the faux. I'm the 4th largest mayor. I have never moved away from Acres. I'm still, as we speak, I'm still in Acres Home. But I know I'm U of H and Harvard educated, but I still know it's there. And if you push the wrong button, and, so I have to constantly say, God, hold me, please, Jesus, hold me, Lord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now behind closed doors, it will erupt. But
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, yeah, twice as hard for, half as good sometimes. So I definitely get it. So this next question is actually from Tyree. He's the vice president from NSBE at Texas A&M. He asked, what is the process for running for city council and what accolades are most seen in candidates? And then following up on that, how do you think filibuster within decision-making can be dealt with best?
Well, quite frankly, once you turn the age of 18, anybody can run, as long as you're not a felon or something like that. And even then, that's questionable. But if you're 18, anyone can run. We changed the terms. How long the terms was changed back in 2015. So 2 4-year terms. And quite frankly, you file with the city secretary, either put forth your petitions or pay the cost of filing, and off and running. And the elections, for example, we just had the elections in November of 2019. And so the next elections will be in November of 2023. And my last day in office will be the last day in December of 2023. So anybody can run. In terms of filibustering, I think it's what I heard. That operates primarily on the congressional level. With the United States Senate, they can filibuster, and that simply means you can just stand up and talk. And as long as you can stand there and talk and kind of run out the time, or you can do it in the Texas Senate, where you can stand up but you can't go to the restroom. The way the filibuster run, where you can't go to the restroom, and you have to keep talking. Now, what happens in a filibuster? You can have some of your colleagues come in and ask you a question, for example, to kind of give you a little bit of a break. They can ask you a question, and it can turn into a long question. But you have to stand. You cannot sit. You have to stand, and you can't leave the floor. And because once you sit down, or once you exit to go to the restroom, that's it. So the filibuster still exists in the Texas Senate, and the filibuster still exists in the United States Senate. And it can be an effective tool to kill a bill or to kill a piece of legislation, especially when you're coming up against certain time limits.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. I guess we can go into another question. This one comes from Desmond Bush. He's our conference planning chair here at the UH NSBE chapter. This is kind of related to the health crisis. So since Governor Abbott declared a health crisis last March, eviction rates in Houston have skyrocketed. I guess what plans do you have to ease this crisis and otherwise prevent further evictions moving forward?
We've gotten some what we call federal CARES money from Congress for dealing with the pandemic. The city of Houston has received about $405 million, what we call federal CARES dollars, to spend on things that are pandemic related. These are dollars that have to be spent by the end of this year. We have taken $35 million of that to provide cash rental assistance for people facing evictions or needing assistance. We'll probably add some more to that. We've joined, for example, with the county. In this last rental assistance initiative with the city and the county, we collectively put forth $60 million for cash rental assistance. And the program that we worked out with the landlords, for example, that if one of their tenants received the benefit of this cash rental assistance, then the landlords who signed up to participate in this program agreed not to evict anybody at their apartment complex. So for example, if they had 150 units and one of the tenants in one of those units received the cash rental assistance, then that apartment that signed up were agreeing not to evict anybody in those 150 units. And so that's cash rental assistance. It's been the main thing. And then the state, Abbott announced about 3 weeks ago that from the monies that the state has received, and the state has received over $5 billion in federal CARES funding, that they were allocating $171 million for cash rental assistance. The city of Houston will get about $13 million of that amount. And quite frankly, the state needs to do a lot more in providing cash rental assistance. I've elected to go the cash route. There are some who've advocated, for example, just a moratorium. The CDC has issued a moratorium, but it's somewhat confusing. But I've elected to go the cash route, because if you can put a moratorium in place, and let's say people don't pay their rent, let's say August, September, October, November, let's say you don't pay your rent over 4 or 5 months. At the end of that moratorium, the financial obligation is so much bigger. And unless some money is going to come in, people are going to be facing foreclosures and evictions again. So your hole becomes much deeper. For me, the preferred route is to put money in the hands of these people to help pay for their rent, their monthly rent, and to lower their financial obligation than just to impose a moratorium and no cash assistance. So that's the route we have taken. And so we encourage people who are facing rent evictions or gotten behind on their monthly rent to contact Baker Ripley. We're using Baker Ripley. We are using the Sylvester County. And so they can sign up through the portal at Baker Ripley if they're in need of rental assistance.
Thank you for that, sir. So we'll go ahead with another question. This one's actually from LaQuavius. He's the president of NSBE at UTSA. This one kind of pertains more to Black students. In what ways will you be looking to further give back to Black students who rely on government assistance and whose parents barely make enough to keep the lights on?
And that's where government can be of tremendous help. Because when I came through, for example, when I was in the University of Houston, my mom wasn't able to do very much. I mean, I come out of the family now. My mom was a maid at the Rice Hotel. So back then I relied on what we call the BEOG, Basic Education Opportunity Grant, that was being provided. And then I got a Social Security supplement because my dad died. And so that's how I got through. And then, of course, I ended up working at the University of Houston. And so I kind of made it through. And that's where, for example, additional financial aid coming from the state as well as coming from Congress can really be helpful. Additional work study can be helpful. At the City of Houston, for example, even in our higher Houston Youth Program, where we provide job opportunities for people ages 16 to 24. And we provided prior to this year, with the pandemic, we provide opportunities, job opportunities, paying opportunities for about 11,000 persons. So it takes all of us to do our very best to provide either work opportunities, to provide financial aid to individuals who are coming through, to encourage the private sector to do even more in providing additional scholarships, not just the high school students, but the students that are in our colleges and universities. It's a collective effort.
Thank you for that, sir. So I guess we have time for about 2 more questions, 2 very brief questions. So the first one is kind of a combination question from Micah, our membership chair, and Tarami, our programs chair.
Okay.
In your experience, what is the most helpful advice that you may have received that could help aspiring young leaders, such as everybody in this meeting right now?
One was be bold. Be bold. And when I say that, what is tangentially related to that is, believe in yourself. I had to remind myself along the way that, look, I can do this. and I can reach beyond. I can go beyond my reach, so to speak. And I had to remind myself, because there's a tendency to stay real within what I call your real comfort zone, and that's okay. You can stay within your comfort zone, and you'll be all right. I mean, you'll be all right. But will you realize your full potential? You can stay within your comfort zone and be okay, but you will not have maximized your potential. And I subscribe to the view that I want to maximize my potential. I want to force myself to stretch, and I'm gonna be bold. And if by chance I fail, that's okay too. I'm gonna get right back up and do it again. I mean, bear in mind, I'm the mayor of the city of Houston, but hell, this was round 3. Okay. I struck out twice. Okay. I struck out twice. This was round 3. Okay. So going after something and failing to get it, it's okay. It's okay. You fall down, you get back up. And I think I learned that from my dad. My dad, when my dad faced cancer, and my dad was a yard man and had us out on the back of his pickup truck cutting people's grass. And I saw my dad fall down several times, and then we realized he wasn't just slipping because he was older. My dad was slipping because the cancer was eating him up on the inside. And so he would fall, but my dad always pulled himself back up. And I saw that even around the house. He would fall, but he pulled himself back up. I learned more from my dad than I learned from, University of Houston or Harvard. And that is, in life, you get knocked down. You have to learn how to pull yourself right back up. You get knocked down, but you don't stay down. Being bold, sometimes you fall short. That's okay. That's okay. You get right back up. And so be bold. And then I've also learned, be careful of hanging around people who just breed negativity. I just can't I can't stand around them folk. People who are negative, always telling you what you can't do. The hell with that. Get behind me on that one. So I can't abide negative folk. And so that's his old story, the difference between a chicken and an eagle. A chicken can't fly. And damn it, when a chicken see you, and if you're an eagle hanging around some chickens, you will stay your butt on the ground. Because the moment you start to take off, if you're an eagle, the chicken will always yell out, you're a chicken, and you'll always fall back to the ground if you allow a chicken to get in your head. And an eagle does not belong on the ground. So if you're hanging around with a lot of folk and they got a chicken mindset, you will never maximize your full potential. So know who you are, be bold, and recognize the power that is within you. So and that's my attitude, and you don't have to be loud to be effective. Okay. And humility still goes a long way. But seize the moment. I'll put it that way. Seize the moment. Don't let the moment pass you by.
Sorry, an eagle around some chickens. I'm definitely gonna use that for sure.
Yeah, stay away from them chickens, man. They belong in some grease. See, that's that acres home coming out of me. I'm thinking about some fried chicken now, but nah. Look, brother, I am an eagle, and I choose to fly, and that's who we are. We come from we have a rich heritage as African Americans. Claim your heritage and move forward. Okay. So I'm real big on that.
Yes, sir. I think this last question is honestly the best question to end it on, because it kind of brings us back to center, brings us to focus on why we're here today. And this one comes from Smithson, our telecommunications chair. So he asked, what do you have to say to Black voters that don't engage in politics because they believe that it is a lost cause?
Then if you don't vote, you're going to stay lost. Okay. Look, I know life is not fair. I know we have asked people to vote in every single election. And we've always said to people, this one is the most important election. People have heard that over and over again. And people have seen elected officials come in and out of their churches, and they show up at election time. I've heard all of that. Okay, I've heard all of that. And much of it is true. I don't even run away from that. But former Representative John Lewis said that voting is the most powerful tool we can use to bring about evolutionary change. And I believe that. And voting is our voice. And I believe that too. Now, if you don't want to be heard, then you don't exercise your voice through your vote. And if you want to take the attitude that nothing is going to change, okay, you can do that. But when individuals and a people lose that hope that things can change and get better, then quite frankly, you're dead. And we are not dead. And there's a lot of fight in us. What I would say, when African American, when people that look like you and I were called colored, they had a lot of fight in them. And there was a whole lot of stuff they wouldn't tolerate. And because they stood up, many of us and the people I'm looking at right now on this Zoom call, we were able to attend the University of Houston's, the Texas Southerns, the Rice, the UTSAs, you name it. And because they stood up, or in some cases sat down in a positive way, I'm the mayor of the fourth largest city. It was Rosa Parks in 1955, this little Black woman who had been working all day. And when she got on that bus, and where she was supposed to go to the back of the bus, because that's where her designated seat was, she sat down in the front seat, not because she was trying to change the world. Rosa Parks sat down on the front seat because, hell, she was tired. She was just tired. And because she sat down in 1955, the rest of us are now standing up. Well, the reality is, it's our turn. And we can talk about what they are not going to let us do and all of that. Okay. All I can say from my vantage point as the mayor of the city of Houston, I'm the mayor of the city of Houston. It's now my obligation as mayor to do everything I can as mayor to make a difference in the lives of people who placed a great deal of trust in me and who still place a great deal of trust in me, to bring about transformational change, not incremental change where you do a little bit here, a little bit there, and nobody can see the little bit you've done. They expect me to make transformational change. And they expect for me to remember who I am and not to forget. One of the reasons why I have chosen to stay in the same neighborhood in which I was born and reared, in Acres Home. Not because I just have to, but because it's my way, in a very ocular way, of saying to other Black boys and Black girls in this neighborhood and similar neighborhoods that you can grow up in this neighborhood and you can still be a partner in a law firm in the legislature and be the mayor of the fourth largest city. And it's important for them to see at the beginning of the day, during the day, or at the end of the day, to see somebody in this neighborhood be brought home with the mayor's detail and being dropped off, where they can still come up to my door and ring my doorbell or knock on their door. Yeah. All of that's important. So, you know, I know things are not, the way we would want them to be. And sometimes many times it's frustrating and things don't seem like things are not changing fast enough. I got all of that. But it's our turn now. It's your turn, our turn. Okay. So together, you know, let's do our part to make it happen. But we're in the fight. You gotta stay in the fight. Okay. But what I will not do, I will not throw in the towel because I don't think I can win the fight. Now you may get your lick in, but damn it, you're gonna know I'm in the ring. Okay. I am not going, you ain't gonna punk me now. One thing about it is I can talk a whole lot of smack. And but that was my dad and my mom, you know, basically said we're gonna stay in the ring, we're gonna stay in the fight. And we're gonna do that. And so it's my turn, it's your turn. Vote, participate, encourage others to vote. I issued the mayor's challenge to Texas Southern, University of Houston, Rice, you know, to go out and vote. Now I will say now Rice is leading right now. U of H is my alma mater. Y'all gotta get some people out there to them polls. You know, Texas Southern, they had the Ocean of Soul. You know, they marched right onto the polling place. But you know, y'all gotta come on. Y'all gotta come on. Y'all gotta come on with it.
We still got time. So we're gonna have some people at the polls for sure.
October 30th is the last day for early voting. November the 3rd is the final day. Now tell the folks, don't wake up on November 4th saying I'm going to the polls on November the 4th. Hell, it will be too late. Okay. So October the 30th is the last day to early vote, and November the 3rd. And thank y'all for allowing me to be your mayor.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
All I can say about
and to all the alphas on the line.
I don't know if we got them on the line this time.
On the line.
I don't think any of them are on the line this time. I think we might have a Sigma or a Kappa or two, but I don't know if we got Alpha on here.
Don't talk to me about the Sigmas and the Kappas. That's nice, you know. I didn't even mean to go there. Let me not go there. Let me not go there. Alphas do run the city, but let me not go there. You know.
Well, Mayor Turner, this has been a tremendous event, and I think I speak for everyone here when I say that we're all leaving more educated, more determined, and more motivated than ever to be a driving force in our community. And we just want to thank you so much. And we would also like to take a quick picture, if everybody's okay with that. If y'all want to go ahead and turn your cameras on. Ali, if you want to go ahead and take those screenshots.
Yes, I will. Please, y'all turn your cameras on. I'm actually going to take one of Mayor Turner by himself real quick. Then I'm going to take one of everybody together, if we could do that. So let me try that. All right. Mayor Turner, feel free to smile.
Well, hell, I thought that's what I was doing.
Oh, I didn't see your screen. I didn't see your screen that one time. So, all right, here we go. All right, I'm going to take one of Mayor Turner real quick. You got 3, 2, 1. That's one. And then now everybody please turn on the cameras and smile for this beautiful picture. All right. Feel free to put your paws up or whatever you want to do. All right. 3, 2.
Hey, David is not smiling.
There we go. All right, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Love to see. Actually, before we go, all my NSBE people, if you could just unmute yourself real quick, because we need to do our chant one time. Okay, so I'm gonna let out a big "How deep," and y'all gonna respond.
5 deep.
Reason why we do that, Mary Turner, is because we are at region 5, and anytime somebody asks how deep, the correct response is always 5 deep. So I'm gonna ask you, Mary Turner, how deep?
5 deep.
There we go. Love to see it.
He's so cute. I love him. I'm not on mute.
What was that? Did somebody say something?
Said she loves you.
I'm so sorry.
I thought that's what I heard her say. Say that louder. Make my day better. You know, I've been blessed. I'm blessed.
Yes, sir.
You know, I've enjoyed being with y'all tonight. Okay, so y'all let's make it happen. And you know, come visit me at City Hall. You know,
Definitely.
come check us out at City Hall.
And everybody in here, make sure if y'all haven't gotten to vote yet, make sure you go vote. I know me and my cousin on this call, we're gonna go vote tomorrow morning. So make sure y'all go hit those polls before October 30th. So get it out the way. It takes like 10-15 minutes for some people. So get it out the way.
Have most of y'all voted already?
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow? Austin ain't said nothing. Austin, have you voted already, man? You haven't voted?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, I'm gonna find out where you live. I'm the mayor. Hell, I can find out where you live. I'm gonna check the voting roll, see whether or not you voted. Who else is on here?
I'll send you all the information so you can check all over.
All right. Smithson, have you voted?
I
What's
voted,
that?
sir.
Have you voted?
I voted yesterday.
All right. Alan, I know you voted.
Absolutely.
You ain't lying to me, are you?
That's on him.
All right. Now, who was the one who said I was cute and good looking and handsome?
God. I am so sorry.
No, that's okay. You know, as they say, you know, speak the truth, shame the devil.
So sorry. Like, I didn't mean that inappropriately. I just really like.
No, that's not it. Look, look. I am an alpha, so you are fine. You know, so I'm good. I appreciate that. Now, y'all have helped make my day. I mean, this is a lot of things have happened in the city today. So this has been a positive ending to the day. So I appreciate it. And let me just say, I don't care who you are. All of us need encouragement, support, and that's another thing we have to learn to do much, much better. And that is supporting and encouraging one another. Okay, I don't care who you are. Everybody needs that encouragement and that support. And so just do that more with one another, and we'll be all right. Okay, now I gotta leave. I got some cabbage that I gotta eat. I'm sorry. You know, you can't eat cabbage.
So much.
And some oxtails and rice. You know, now, you know, this is April's home now. And in fact, I saw a couple of rabbits out there in the yard. I'm gonna try to catch them before they get up in the tree. Yeah.
Save me a plate. Save me a plate.
All right, I'm out, y'all. I'm gone.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Later on. Okay.